Today is the actual day of the 25th of Elul, which is the creation of the world. The king is still in the field during Elul, but it's also the first day of creation of the world. And in a certain sense, it's every day. Now, the applicable Torah portion for the first day of the creation of the world is the Bereshis and day 1. And just to read day 1 portion, Bereshis bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, and the rest up until day 1. In that, it's always true that the first word is the most important. Bereshis, because there's two starts. There's two starts. And this word, in my opinion, since it doesn't matter what you study in Torah, everything is applicable in the same way. You can turn to any page of Talmud. You can turn to any verse in Torah. But today, we start with the first one, which is the most applicable. And so the first word, Bereshis, means there's two starts. Bereshis, two. And even higher than that is the letter Bet itself, which has 3 dimensions, by the way. An up and a down and a middle in between that connects it. And this is, to me, the whole secret. The 2 implies a middle, which is a middle third. The 2 implies a 3. Actually, on the Mincha offerings of the Kohen Gadol, according to Rambam, on Yom HaKippurim, he brings 10 loaves, and each of the 10 loaves is split in half. It's not 5 and 5, but he brings 10 split halves, and 5 in the morning and 5 in the afternoon. And that means his whole day is covered because he's between the 2 minchas. This is no different than up in the 3 times 40 days of Moses on Mount Sinai, where he gets the Luchas on the first trip, and then he gets Luchas on the second trip, on the third trip. But what does he get in between? He has another 40 days. And there's the in-between. He gets mercy on that. And so, quite frankly, the in-between is the most important thing. That's what I call the Ben Hashomashot. Consciousness comes in the in-between. It's no different than Vaya Erev, Vaya Boker, Yom Echad. It's an Erev, and it's a Boker. It's a sundown, and then a sun up, and it's the in-between. Everything is the in-between. It's the same thing with souls. We have a nefesh, animal soul. We have a godly soul, and then we have a sekalit that's in between there. It links the 2. It's basically the brains of the animal soul that link it into the godly soul. Everything is in the in-between. And this is a great secret. And it makes a 3-ness out of 2-ness. This is the same thing in the body. When we have a right side, a left side, and then a center line. The Ida, the Pingala, and the Shashumna nerve. And the way we get consciousness, the way we get consciousness up the spine. The Kundalini, the high rising. The center spine is to have the right and left in some sort of a balance. And that's why in tennis I propose to have the left hand, the two forehand tennis, the left hand and the right hand. And why do we do that? It's only to open up the center. That's what they do. That's what they do in everything. Like when you do, all these Pilates and all these other modalities, modern modalities, we're talking about the core. The core is in the center. And this all comes from Bereshit, because there's two starts. This is no different than like on Purim and Shushan Purim. There are two starts. Why? Because there's always a second chance. Because you're going to bundle the first chance anyway. And you know why? It comes down that all beginnings are difficult. And you're always in a constant new chance. It's brought down as between the Shabbos. That's the middle space. The 6 days are between the two Shabboses. Your kind of starts are on the Shabbos, and then your real thing is, that's the Bereshit, the created 6 between the two Shabboses, which are uncreated. Comes from another level. You get me on this? The center is the center. Notice where the head is. It's in the center of the body. The big functions are in the center of the body. The penis, the ass, the head, the mouth, the nose, belly button. I mean, we don't need like some teacher for that. So today is the most propitious day of the year as far as I'm concerned. It's the creation. And creation comes from two starts. And it's a continual creation that, quite frankly, you're always starting. You start with each week, you start with each month, you start with each year, you start with each life, you start with each day, you start with each breath. You start with each breath. And there are two starts, even in the breath. There's an initial start, and then the continuation of the initial start. And that's the yud of the in-breath. Just like there's two parts of the yud. There's an atik yomin on top and an erik anpin. And that's all part of the keta and the yud. And so that's bereshit. There's two parts of that yud. So when you breathe, there's an initial in and then a continuation of the in. And there's a conscious gap between the initial in and the continuation. So even there's an initial, there's a gap. There's a gap between every two. Can't help it, even if it's a conscious gap that you imagine later. And this is it. So it's even in breathing, there's two starts. Bereshit, the perfect word for today. Two starts, 25th of Elul. Here we are. Hope you watch it.